How's it going, everyone? It's Derek from Top Shelf Music Magazine, and I am here with Matt Wagner, aka MNERVA, from Nashville, Tennessee. Matt is one of the rising stars in the local music scene, and I'm here to talk to him about his life and career. So how you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing great, Derek. I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your musical history? Give us a quick bio.
Yeah, totally. So I've been releasing music as MNERVA since the beginning of 2020, like right before the world ended. It was a great time. Dropped that first single in February and then had to pivot and do readjust with the world ending after that. But I mean, I've been a musician though for most of my life. I've been playing drums for 21 years now, which blows my mind. Started when I was 5. Both my parents were musicians, so my dad's a drummer, mom's a singer. They met in a jazz trio back in the day.
Oh shit!
And then they kind of taught me both their crafts, and now it's a big part of what I do. I moved to Nashville for college in 2015, started playing drums for a lot of other artists to get in the scene, and then I really fell in love with hip hop, and in doing that was how MNERVA started. I was like, what if we took like ambient rock music and put it with like trap music? So that's how the whole journey started. And then when the pandemic happened and this wonderful depression happened that we all felt during 2020, I was like, fuck it, I'm making rock music. Just slowly morphed from like hip hop to experimental hip hop to more like rap rock to now just more like in the pop punk sphere with like hip hop elements. So it's been a fun journey getting here to where I'm at now.
Dude, that's awesome. I've been to a couple of your shows and they're like crazy, off the hook, a lot of energy. Is there a particular moment that you've had so far that you are just like blown away by, or a particular career defining moment so far?
Yeah.
Live performance?
Oh God, with live performance. I always like to say I'm really selfish with this one moment at my show. So I always end every show I ever play. I end on my song called "The Interview." Anastasia, his wonderful girlfriend, played this song with me during one of my last shows. And at the very end of it, there's this little outro. And at the end of this outro, all the music drops out, and I stop and I say, "It'll get better than this." And I think during my last big show that I headlined, I got to that moment, I just stopped, and the whole crowd was just silent. It was like, a pin could drop, in there. And I think I waited a good, 10, 12 seconds before I was like, it'll get better than this. And I think that, if I could just have that moment and, slow down time even more for those 12 seconds, it was like, wow, everything I've, worked for this moment has, has landed. And, I'm seeing people tearing up in the audience, and this is what I'm trying to do in music. And so I'd say that moment of silence was magical.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. You have a new song that's going to be coming out next month called Love Song.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that and the backstory behind the creation of it? Yeah,
so Love Song is one of those fun songs I wrote entirely by myself. Mm-hmm. So especially in Nashville, that never happens. You don't do that. You co-write everything. But I was in my last relationship was, I'd never actually hit a year in a relationship before. And so when I got there back in February, I was like, I gotta write about this. This is a crazy accomplishment, because people had always left me for one reason or another, or just I'd moved or things hadn't worked out. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I've always been going for. And so I sit down to write this love song, and I have no idea how to write a love song, because all my songs are about mental health, or they're about me being super angsty, or about people who've done me wrong. And I'm like, how do I write a happy song? So I just kind of sat down at a piano, started playing that opening arpeggiated riff, and just kind of started jokingly singing about not knowing how to write a love song. And in doing that, I was like, I stumbled on that, don't know how to write a love song, I'm used to getting hurt, but ever since I met you, I've been searching for the words. And when I did that, I just started crying immediately. So I was like, oh my God, that's it. I'm gonna write a love song about not knowing how to write a love song. That's the most me thing I could possibly do. And I think I finished the whole thing then in probably an hour and a half or so. And I literally showed it to my now ex that night. And I mean, it was super effective. And for me, it just as I kept working on this new record that I'm dropping in January, this song just kept coming up. And it's even though I'm not in that relationship anymore, it gives me so much hope that it's okay, cool. I can grow past the very heavy, dark subject matters that I've always written about, and like, you know, make something that's humble and human.
Yeah. As you mentioned, Nashville is like known for co-writing. Do you prefer writing with other people, or are you more of a, I like, you know, doing it myself?
So definitely growing up in my songwriting journey, I was in bands a lot, but a lot of them, we never really collaborated in writing. Like we would jam, but like the actual like writing of lyrics or melody, like it was always like this own separate thing. So the three of us would go off and then come back with like our binders. I wish I was kidding. Like literally one time, this motherfucker got a binder out and was like, all right, so here's the chord charts with the lyrics and the and I'm just over here like, wow, this is in depth. So because that's my background, I tend to prefer writing on my own, but especially since being in Nashville, like co-writing is how you get inundated, and so it's how you meet new people, and it's how honestly you make the best stuff. Like collaboration is great because then you can be second guessed, and you need to be second guessed as a creative often. So for me, what I'll usually do now is I'll like write a chorus by myself, or I'll write one section of a song so I know, cool, this feels me. Because I've been in so many co-writes where like you'll write a song and then you step back, it's like, cool, but MNERVA would never sing this. It's like, yeah, it's a decent song, but like it doesn't feel like me. So I know if I come in with one section already finished, then I'll know, cool, no matter where this goes from here. And sometimes it goes in a direction I would never sing, and I like it. And I'm like my biggest song is called Sorry Forget About Me, and I came in with that chorus, and I remember I wrote it with like this super like white girl pop artist, and like I would never have thought of those verse melodies, but it was awesome. And I'm like, that's why you're bringing people to collaborate. So that's a very long-winded way of me saying I love co-writing, but I don't like to start from scratch and co-writes as much.
That's cool. What are some of the struggles you face as an independent artist in the music industry today?
Oh God, as far as struggles, I'd say I feel like as an independent artist, you always have to be on. Yeah. Like no matter what you do, it's like, okay, cool, well, every day the world is your oyster, don't waste it. And it, like, we're human beings. Like some days we're gonna have, like just want to binge Netflix all day, or you're gonna want to like, you know, have a day where, you know, it's like, I just don't feel like recording today, or don't feel like writing. But like, you know, you got to keep the social medias going. Like TikTok, like, you know, like penalizes you for not posting every day. And it's like, you know, with that in mind, it's hard to be a machine when you're the product.
That's a really good quote. That's a really good way to look at it. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, because like, okay, cool. If I just have to manufacture like, you know, shoes, for example, like, cool, I can keep that thing moving and like make it mechanical to the point where like, cool, even when I'm like, you know, taking 20, like, you know, for a lunch break, it can still keep working, and I can come back and assess it. But yeah, again, when you yourself are in charge of everything, like, and you have a limited team, like, unless you're the one pushing the stone, it's not going to move. Yeah. And so I find that's definitely the hardest part. And I mean, I'll have times too where I'll like completely forget about something, and then 3 weeks later I'll be like, oh my God, I was supposed to do it like months ago for this release. And so it's like that definitely becomes the hard part. And then I'm playing catch up, and then it's just like, okay, well, it's going to be what's going to be. Yeah. But yeah, that, I really wish I could like clone myself like 5 different ways, and like, you know, have a different Matt be in charge of a different aspect of the process. Yeah. Because like when you have to like be a video editor, be like, you know, the songwriter, be the live performance coordinator, just be the person putting things in the calendar. That's so much harder than it looks. Yeah. Like it can become very overwhelming. But at the same time, I get all the rewards then. So it has its perks.
Do you think that the way the music industry with things like TikTok are evolving, it's going to be beneficial to musicians going forward, or do you think it's going to change music like for the worst?
I think it's already done both, if I'm being honest. Like I think from a negative, I'll start with negative and do positive. I think that it's really unfortunate that 60,000 songs are released today on Spotify, because you can't listen to that much music, and let's be real, like majority of it isn't very good and probably shouldn't be released. Yeah. So the way record labels used to gatekeep for quality was actually, I think, a good thing in the past model. But now I think it's great because like any sound or any niche can, you know, be found. And like, you know, you want to find like, you know, Gregorian chanting drones, like great, go for it. You want to find like any type of music you can imagine probably exists, or if not, you can make it and then put it out in the world and have it there. So I think that's really a really good thing about the new music market. I do wish that, I feel like now there's a lot of mediocre music, and there's always been a lot of mediocre music, but I feel like now it's even easier to get out there.
Yeah.
And I find that, especially with as far as trends go, I mean, I find this with a lot of pop artists I play drums for. It's like, oh, pop punk is big. Everyone's dropping a pop punk record, but like doing it the same way MGK is instead of like, putting their own spin on it.
Yeah.
And so I wish that TikTok wasn't so big on being trendy. And I think that is a danger to the quality of music.
Yeah.
But as far as the access for artists and how easy it is to find new people and also make a living, I mean, my God, once you get that following, like whether it's through social media or doing road gigs, once you have it, you don't need a record label anymore. And I know for me, like I'd love to get that label deal at some point, just simply so I could quit my side hustles and have that advance money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if something did pop off, maybe I'd reconsider because I wouldn't need it.
Yeah. Nine Inch Nails has a song called Copy of a Copy. I'm not sure if you've ever heard it, but it basically talks about how, bands and a lot of musicians are just basically just like copies of other things, and you know what I mean? Like regurgitations of stuff. Do you think that TikTok and even the concepts of trending prevents musical uniqueness going forward, where people are just trying to copy what they see working instead of making something that's inherently like unique and original? Or do you think, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery?
That's a great question. I would say copy of a copy. Also, that's awesome. I would say that. So I've had some success on TikTok, and the way I got success on TikTok for that brief little 15 minutes of fame was by using other people's sounds and putting my own spin on them. So I find whenever people like the best TikToks and the ones that really break out from the trending market, if you will, is when you take something that's given and kind of like make a derivative work of it, if you will. It's like, all right, cool, like here's art, now let me sample this and make it something that's completely different. I find that when people are just straight up copying things, that's when it gets a little dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think that, I definitely do think imitation's a form of flattery, like especially me coming from the hip hop side of a musical background, like I wish that sampling was an easier process, because I have so many samples in my head of things that I would love to incorporate into my music, but I know I can't because I don't have the money or the influence just yet. But just you wait. When I have that, full sample records. But it's like, that's, I think when it becomes truly just you're copying instead of you're inspired by it, I think that's the line. But that's a very gray line. Yeah. And so I think you have to play into the what's trending thing in order to be seen in the first place. But I think it's the people who use what's trending to then form their own path. I think those are the best artists in the world. Yeah,
that's cool. Obviously, I've seen even when you're not playing, I see you at other people's shows. You're like a big supporter of the local music scene here. Who are some of your favorite local musicians?
Oh God, well I'd say as far as Nashville has this wonderful pop punk scene that's growing. That's a really great thing. Yeah. So some of the bigger names, of course, are like the Charlotte Sands and the John Harveys of the world. But it's like, Charlotte Sands, that's important. And the John Harveys of the world, I say in the more independent, like just on the way up scene, I would say like Dawn, I absolutely love. Anastasia Elliott, of course. Brittany Ray is a artist I'm playing for right now that I absolutely love. Yeah. She's got like a country style voice, but she's doing pop punk, and it actually feels so fresh to me because again, like those are two things you wouldn't imagine would work together. Like I got to practice with her tonight. I cannot wait for that. I would say all that. As far as the pop side of things, she just moved, but I was playing for Katie Mack for a long time. I think that she's got this hyper pop thing that's gonna take off one day for sure. Really excited about my writing partner Corey Shore's music. He's super great. And as far as other rock bands, Loyals is amazing. That's my producer Andrew Gomez. That's his band. Yeah. And they got some new stuff that he showed me that it's cooking, man. I cannot wait for them to get back on the scene again.
That's cool. Do you have any advice for anybody that's like starting out in the music industry and just trying to like cut their teeth on the local scene? Like any tips or tricks for people?
Well, as far as if you're trying to get into your local scene, go to shows, go to every show, because just having your name out there does so much. As far as it's like, oh yeah, cool. Like I saw Matt yesterday. Oh yeah, wait, Matt does this. Oh, I should talk to him about that. Yeah. It's amazing what just pure exposure will do. You don't even have to say or do anything or prove anything. You just gotta show up. Like that does a lot. I would say as far as my advice for local artists, like if you really want to do this career, learn video editing.
Yeah.
Like no, straight up. Like your job. Yes, you have to be good at music.
Yeah.
But like you can create so much stuff in studio. Like you can create the perfect performance. Like learning how to market and how to properly show yourself off in the best way. Like so much of social media now is aesthetics.
Yeah.
And it's something that I struggle with a lot because I'm honestly super lazy when it comes to this stuff. Like I'm so meticulous when it comes to the music side of things because that's what I love and grew up on. But now I'm learning video editing on the fly, if you will, and I'm just like, it's good enough. But no, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
It's like you need to treat that as much as the art of the music that you're doing. And I need to listen to my own advice on that because I'm about to go home and film a crap load of TikToks and I need to actually have them be high quality. But like that's what I would always say to new artists. Like if you really want to do this, know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Because it's not what it looks like, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. I really love your TikTok album reviews or like discography reviews where you kind of go through like all of like what Taylor Swift's like albums and things like that. Are there any upcoming ones that you're looking forward to like talking about?
On the drive here, I was finishing up Blink-182, so I got a fun one for there. God, their first album is so bad, but after that, it's so good.
Oh yeah.
It's fantastic. God, Just Shower Cat, what were they doing? But other than that though, I want to do Mac Miller. That one's on the horizon for sure. Reliant K is another one.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and especially people ask me all the time, like, yeah, Matt, it gets you views, but like, what does this actually do for you, like as an artist? And I think that if you start through reviewing artists, like doing Taylor Swift, that was purely for views.
Yeah.
Like that, I knew what I was doing there. And God, that was controversial. No one likes my opinions. But for doing something like Linkin Park or Blink-182, it's like, cool, that's what I sound like.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping by people like following me because of these reviews, they'll then be able to hear my music and be like, oh damn, this guy's kind of good.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to use that as like an outreach platform to then bring people into MNERVA. So we'll see how effective it is, but my TikTok was like dead for like 4 months, and so doing those album reviews and starting that series is really what started getting it going again.
Yeah.
And so I'm really hoping it keeps happening, and I just keep picking good artists, and hopefully my hot takes lead to hot results.
Nice. In the same spirit of like reviewing and talking about other musicians' music, could you like quickly review a couple of your own songs? Maybe talk about like maybe your top 3 favorite songs.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, I got my top 3. So I'd say my favorite song I've ever written would definitely be The Interview, as I mentioned before, mainly because so I started writing that song in March of 2016, and it is now October of 2022. And I mean, I released that song last year, and that was 5 years after even starting it. And so for me, that song has been through so many revisions and so much like, with the dough in order to get it right.
Yeah.
And so when I finally released that song and people were really touched by it, that was the most validating thing that I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
And so that song just really demonstrates to me that like if you put in the work on something and really like give it the love and time it deserves, you can make something that is really powerful.
Yeah.
And so that song I will always hold very near and dear to my heart. And I mean, honestly, probably for the rest of my career, I will end my shows on that one because I think it's the perfect cherry on top about the message I want to send as an artist.
Yeah.
And I think that song just truly captured that in the best way I've been able to do yet. Second favorite song I've ever done would be Sorry Forget About Me.
Yeah.
Simply because that was the song that changed my direction. Like I remember I recorded that song in February of 2021, and I hadn't even talked too much yet, like my first EP.
Yeah.
And I remember showing my roommate that song and him being like, dude, this is a hit. This is it.
Yeah.
And I remember he always loved him. Like we've been friends for years. He always loved me and like supported me. But like that was the moment when he believed in me.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And so yeah, I remember then dropping that, and it's now my first song hit 100,000 streams, and it's only a fraction of where like it needs to be to like truly like create a career. But I'm like, okay, cool. This one's connecting. That's great. It's in the algorithm. Like this is the first time that's ever happened.
That's cool.
So that song is really special to me because I always had a feeling that that was going to be the one. Mm-hmm. And then when it was the one, I was like, okay, cool. I'm not crazy. I know what I'm talking about. This is awesome. And then for my third one, I would actually say Love Song, like the one that the one I'm releasing really soon, just because it's such a simple song. Yeah. And I always really respect songs that like they can have like one line as the chorus and that's it, because that's all you need. And that's not what Love Song is, but it's by far the simplest song I've ever written as Minerva. And especially because I wrote it all by myself too, it just feels so satisfying and so validating that like I was able to pen this song that, I mean, every time I play it, someone cries in the audience just because it's like, it's really beautiful and it's, you know, really hopeful. And I've yet to do that again, and I'm currently recording and writing my next record, because you always have to be one step ahead of the game when you're an independent artist, because no one cares what you've done, they care about what you're doing. Yeah. And I'm just trying to get back in that headspace, and it's so much harder than I thought it was going to be to get back in that type of headspace. So yeah, that song's a really special song, and another one, I'm going to probably play it every show for a very, very long time.
Nice. What's going to be happening for you in 2023? What does the next year's projections look like for you?
So first step is I'm releasing this EP that I've been sitting on for so long. It's called Invincible. We'll be coming out in late January. Nice. So currently need to figure out the date, trying to get all the ducks in the row of promotion and what I want to do for it exactly. But I'm looking to make a music video series after it to reintroduce the audience to all these songs in a new way. So nice. I did this for my last EP too, where I did a connected music video for every song, and then had it be so like cool if you're watching like Quarter Life Crisis and then you watch all the way to the interview, it's like cool, they all stand on their own, but there is a continuous narrative going on throughout all of that. And I love giving Easter eggs for fans and make it so that, okay, cool, if you want to invest time into this, there is something to invest into. Because I feel like so many artists, it's just like, cool, song, not the song. Yeah. And that's great, but like that doesn't keep fans, in my opinion. That creates fans, but it doesn't keep them. And I'm all about like, cool, if you love Minerva now, I want you to love Minerva 5 years from now. And I think that is such an essential part of creating a career in this. It's about longevity. Because anyone can be a 15-minute flash in the pan. Like you look at people like Lil Nas X, that should have been the biggest one-hit wonder, but oh my God, he used that and capitalized on it. Oh yeah. Because he had so much more in him than anyone expected. And like I had some friends who just went to a show recently, and apparently he handed out like playbills and treated it all like a musical, and I was like, now that's a man with vision. Yeah. That's awesome. Like again, he deserves all this respect and all this success that he's had now, because he's really put in the time. Yeah. And, you know, really surround himself with the perfect team. And, I mean, God, he could not sing at those award shows at first. And now you look at him, he's, like, absolutely flawless. I'm like, that's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's what I'm doing first for 2023. I'm currently trying to book a tour as well. Nice. So kind of bring myself around the country, start playing these songs live. And, really working on a remix record as well. Oh, so, nice. I just commissioned 2 of them, actually. I got 3 more to go. Oh, wow. So what I want to do is just work with a bunch of producers who've got like producer artist followings, and then make like trap rock versions of like a lot of these songs that are like orchestral arrangements, or actually I just did an orchestral version of Sorry yesterday. That will be coming soon. Awesome. And it's just, I really believe in these 5 songs, and I really want to give them as much legs as they can. Yeah. Because I'm working on the next record, but it's going to be a minute, and it needs to be a minute, because you want to make good art, you need to put the time in. You need to let it live. You can't just like, be an infant and then you put it out in the world. It'll get his head caved in. True. Awesome. Needs to develop a skill first. Yeah. Well, awesome, man. I don't have any more questions, but is there anything you want to leave potential fans with? Anything you want to say before we go? Or Love Song's coming out November 11th. Could not be more excited about it. And just remember, whenever life gets down, that it's going to get better than this. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Matt. Let's do it, man. Yeah, write a love song that I think you deserve. There's no